Yo, what's going on?
The back pew.
We got so much to talk about this week.
You know,
We can unpack like these conversations. You can see a pedicure.
You would do.
Depends on his feet.
That could be my feet.
what's up? What's up, Tam? We in person? We not back conversations. What's going on? This
The Tim and Tam Talks. He be doing this stuff all the time. New here. Go ahead and click that follow, subscribe button. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We everywhere.
Yo, we everywhere. Like literally everywhere.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. You're tuned into a very live Backview podcast with Tim and Tam. It's your girl, Tam.
What's up, y'all? This is Tim. Hey, Tam. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. One of my favorite nights of the whole week. So, guys, we thank you so much for joining us here on a Tuesday night here at the Back Pew Conversations, where we are everywhere. Please always remember to join the conversation, as we love to have a very interactive and fun experience with you here at the Back Pew. Also, don't forget, to follow, subscribe, like, share, a little bit of everything where we are, because we are everywhere, as we like to say. You got anything else, Tam?
No, I'm excited to get into it. I did a little sneak peek of our topics today. I'm a little nervous on some, and then some I'm absolutely ready to get into. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in this Tuesday evening. Tim, I'm ready if you are.
Hey, we're going to get it in. But definitely make sure you guys are commenting. We got a couple of topics, even from you, the guest. So we got a couple of topics in there that we're going to talk about. So always remember to keep it interactive and live for us. So we're going to dive right in. We're going to dive into our first comment.
Hey, girl.
Hey, baby.
Oh, my gosh. Every week.
Every week. But we are going to dive right into these conversations. So without further ado, Black people always gonna be black. Now, Tam, you probably wondering what we mean by that, right? What do I mean when I say black people always gonna be black, right?
Right.
We always gotta do something extra, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes when we go to a restaurant, we might overfill our plates with things that we probably should wait, especially if we're at a buffet line and we try to fill up our plates with everything. It's not necessary. Well, it really wasn't necessary when a black gentleman himself, went to a restaurant and picked out a lot of something that he really shouldn't have. So I'm gonna let y'all be the judge on this one and take a look at this.
Appreciate you, boss. Appreciate that. Thank you very
Man,
much.
y'all watch this crazy.
Can I have more lobster or not? You can have more lobster once you've completed these, sir. I have to eat all this first. To be clear,
Look at
the
all that
rules
lobster.
are that I have to finish a plate before I go back to the buffet.
For the lobsters, yes. We have a sign right
It
over
says
there.
one per plate.
Yes.
It doesn't say you have to eat the plate before you come back, though.
What was that?
Look at all
I
that
wasn't even
lobster.
talking to you. Who are you? Who are you? I wasn't talking to you.
Sir, will you just please?
Yeah, some people, that's a
The
big.
casino who be taking all your money has a problem with me taking some lobster, all you can eat. Stop playing with me. So I'm here at the Palms in Vegas trying to put y'all on to the good spots. You know what I'm saying? And the manager comes over to my table like, excuse me, are you going to eat all that? The rule said one
Yes, he
piece per
did.
plate. So that's exactly what I was doing. I
He
would
should
get
have
one
said
piece,
that.
take it back to my table, and then go back and get another piece. Hey, listen, after all that, I ain't even going to hold y'all. That lobster was busting. The butter has some seasoning in it. Only $8 too? This deal is definitely worth it. But the way that they treated me made me want to leave immediately.
You're not supposed to be back here. You're not supposed to be back here. You're not supposed to be back here. Please.
Yeah, black people.
Oh, we gonna put that on all black people?
Not all black people, but this particular black person went to a buffet in Vegas and spent $80, all you can eat, got lobster, but it should have been one at a time. That was the rule. My man got like 20 lobster all at once. Now, come on now, Tam. This is not good decorum at all. So what say you?
I'm not mad at it. I mean, if it's all you can eat buffet, when have they ever stopped you from loading up your plate at a regular all you can eat spot? You could pile it as high as the ceiling. Nobody ever says anything. But now all of a sudden, because it's lobster, you the one decided to have all you can eat lobster. So that's not, nobody's problem. But yours, like, I don't understand what the big deal is. If he paid $80 for all you can eat, then let him get $80 of crap. And if you want to load it up and not eat it, guess what? We have the right to do that. We do it at Golden Corral.
Okay, that's fair. We do it at Golden Corral. That I understand all of that.
Yeah,
But if the rule is take one at a time,
he did. He said he got one plate of lobster and kept taking it back to the table.
finish what you have on your plate.
Wow,
That's what that was what we were taught as kids. Finish what you have on your plate.
It's different. They are a business, and unfortunately, your business model, you got duped under your own business model. And let's be honest, let's be serious. What he said, you at a casino. How much money are you actually spending at this casino? Like, be honest, I spend thousands of dollars when I go to the casino. So if I want to load up my plate, I don't care if I had 100 lobsters. Guess what? I paid for it in some way, somehow, some form. It's buffet. Like, I don't get what the big deal is. He duped them based on their own model, one per plate. He got one per plate, and it was like, no, now you need to eat it all. What?
We got a comment for starters. Let's see. Ali says gluttony is a sin. This is embarrassing.
It is.
So he wasn't exhibiting or displaying gluttony in that situation?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how light and buttery those lobsters. I don't know. He might have still been hungry. I don't know. You know how seafood is. You be hungry, full, and then you hungry again. I don't know. No, he probably was experienced. I mean, I'm just being devil's advocate. Like, it was overkill. But at the end of the day, like, if I'm looking at this from a business model standpoint, they're the one that decided to put lobster on the buffet. It's not really the consumer, the customer's problem. If they pay for all you can eat lobster, guess what? They gonna do stupid stuff like that.
Okay. That's fair. I personally would have followed the rules and done one at a time, considering lobster is not cheap. And he wasted a lot of that lobster. He threw a lot of it in the trash. He didn't need to go and get all of that lobster at once. Come on now.
I don't know. I don't know if he ate it all, if those were shells, but guess what? Hopefully they won't change the model. Maybe next time I go to Vegas, I can go get me some all-you-can-eat lobster. So hopefully he didn't ruin it for the rest of us.
I'm pretty sure he did at this point. I'm pretty sure. But that was pretty crazy. So, all right, we're gonna move to the next thing, guys. Simone Biles' mother. So she did an interview with a local outlet recently and kind of talked about some things about the dynamic of Simone and her relationship. And pretty much what she said also was that Simone hasn't called her and hasn't talked to her in a long time. And there was a lot of different opinions about that situation. And so we're going to play that for you guys and just would like to get an idea of what your thoughts are about this too. Take a listen.
Simone, I love you and you're my everything, but I'm about to read your mama. And I'm gonna keep it respectful because she is one of our elders. This is Miss Shannon. This is Simone Biles' biological mother. She took it upon herself to do an interview with the Daily Mail, basically saying that she was kind of upset that she wasn't invited to Simone Biles' wedding, and she is waiting for Simone to reach out to her to reconcile a relationship that she broke. Now, Miss Shannon, mama, you were the adult in the situation. Simone was the child. So the responsibility is not on Simone. It's on you to reach out. And I have sympathy for you. I empathize with your situation. I have people within my proximity who deal with addictions. But that's not an excuse. You are a grown-ass woman and you need to take accountability and responsibility for your actions. And I'm honestly questioning the motive because you admitted that you have her personal phone number so you can reach out. So if you wanted some type of resolution with your daughter, why not reach out to her in private, as families typically do? They don't blast their family woes on the internet. Instead, you take it to a interview with a news organization. Call me delusional, call me crazy, I don't care. But Miss Shannon, it is giving that you needed a coin or two and you down bad and you couldn't get it out of Simone, so you used Simone's likeness to get the coin by taking this interview.
Yikes.
Oof.
Another day.
So let's talk hypotheticals for a minute. Let's just say you were in Simone's shoes and the same situation had happened to you, where you're a big Olympic star, just won gold medals, just come back and you have to deal with this. What would you do? And what would you say and how would you respond?
I don't think I would respond at all. I don't think this honestly deserves a response from Simone. I agree with the woman who did the video. I personally believe like when it comes to like matters of kids and their parents, I feel like parents will always have more responsibility than the child, no matter how old they are. Um, I just feel like we have the burden of bringing a child in, and they didn't ask to be here, right? And I do also believe like I'm one of those kind of parents like even though you're a parent, you need to apologize. Even though you're a parent, you need to make it right. And I know old school generation, they don't look at it like that. But I'm a little bit different because I actually want to be like a parent that treats my kid like they hurt, they bleed, and they have feelings too. And too often, we don't do that. So in this case, if I was Simone, I would not respond. It's not her responsibility to actually even respond to her mom's shenanigans. Like her mom abandoned her. Her mom, was dealing with addiction, and again, like the lady said, we have empathy for people that have addictions because, that can be a very stronghold. I mean, use a church word, it can be a stronghold, and really ruin your life and really hurt people around you. So we have empathy for that. But what we don't have empathy for is someone who's not accountable for where they wronged their child and where they messed up. So for me, I don't have any sympathy for the mom, but if I were Simone, I wouldn't even entertain it at all. Like what would be the reason to?
Yeah. Hopefully she's going to take the high road and not really respond. That's the hope, because that's what people would want her to do, to have something to talk about. But I think it should always be more responsibility on the parent as opposed to the child. We didn't ask to be, as a child, you didn't ask to be here, you know? And so that responsibility should always go on the parent to make sure that the child is fine and that the relationship is where it should be or where you're trying to take it, you know? So I agree with you. I think it's wrong that she used her likeness in order to get her interview, to make a little bit of coin off of her likeness, as the lady mentioned. I think it was absolutely wrong that she even took this interview. So what's going to happen every 4 years that she's in the Olympics? You're going to take an interview, something similar to this, because we've never heard. I know me personally, I've never heard of Simone Biles' biological mother until she did the interview.
Yeah.
I knew she was adopted, but I didn't know of her mother until she took that interview, and it just didn't make sense for her to even do that. So that's my thought. I didn't like it when I saw it either, because you're using her likeness to get attention, and then you want to air dirty laundry or family business out where you shouldn't even be doing that in the first place. If anything, if you have her number, as the outlet said and as the woman said, call her. If it really was a problem, it was your responsibility to call her and not say anything or blast her for the whole entire world to know. The whole entire world knows now, you know? So to me, it screams, I want attention.
Yeah. Or it screams, I'm broke, so I'm about to do an interview off of some family drama that I've caused and I've created. It's, I don't know, to me, it's just really, really sad too, Tim, because you got to think about it. Like, it don't matter how old you are, you still want to have good relationships with your parents. You still long for like your mom and your dad. So to have your mom do this, we already know, like when somebody you really close with, like a friend or like your spouse or whatever, hurts you, but like your parent, your blood, it's just like a hurt. So I can't even imagine But I, like you said, I hope she maintains the high road, even though I know she's probably even more hurt because of the original damage that was done for not having a mom there and being raised by your grandparents and feeling unwanted and abandoned or feeling like you're not good enough and all of these things. So yeah, it's just super sad.
Yeah. Well, I really hope that they can mend that relationship best way they can, best way they know how. And if not, even if that means moving on, that's mending in some way. People can move on and be healed. And it's tough because she gave her up. She was dealing with addiction. And we have nothing but sympathy and compassion for people who have battled addiction and overcome it. But you also have to take accountability as well.
Yeah.
Accountability for not being there, not going to Simone's practices or picking her up or dropping her off, not being there to hold her hand when Dr. Larry Nassar was sexually assaulting her and abusing her. Where were you? But you're there when she's in Paris with her husband, Jonathan Owens, having the time of her life, winning gold medals and everything, and you want the attention to be on you. No offense, seems like a lot of addicts always want that type of attention when they haven't earned it.
That's good.
So we're going to move on to the next thing, which is another interesting topic. Married men attracted to men? What?
What?
Hey, I'm a married man. I can tell you, I am not attracted to any men. So it's not.
What is happening?
Take a listen and take a look at the shenanigans going on with this show.
There is this show that I found. I don't even want to explain what it is. I just want you to watch it first.
We do love each other very much. We are best friends.
I wouldn't change anything about him.
With our faith in God, we believe we can overcome anything.
I like to say I've chosen an alternative to an alternative lifestyle.
I'm attracted to my wife.
Okay.
Sure. And I'm definitely attracted to men. Too. He's a good-looking guy for sure.
Well, I'm interested in men. I'm just not interested in men.
What? These are men married to women, plus more men. Double homicide.
So are they gay or not? And I get a little defensive when somebody calls my husband gay.
Girl.
The whole act is against the teachings of the gospel. I don't think people understand this.
You're attracted to men, but you're going on a date with a girl.
I want to marry a woman, but I don't know how to work out these feelings.
So everybody in denial on this show. D.O.C. has done it again.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm attracted to men.
Ooh. Why would they sign up for this show? So this is the first family.
And I'm Tanya.
We've been married about 9 years.
And you got
We've
kids.
got one delightful son. And I guess one of the most unique things about our relationship is I experience SSA, or same-sex attraction.
Not gay.
Girl.
SSA.
This man is.
I'm in the Twilight Zone. FYI, for those watching, I did not post this video. This is not me. This is
Oh, you gonna blame me for it? You gonna blame me for
my
this?
topic. I don't know.
Blame me for this. Okay.
No parts of this, but we got to talk about it clearly because you brought it to the table or the back pew.
Exactly. We talk about everything on the back pew, and let's also make sure that everybody remembers to please comment, join the conversation, comment below. We would love to hear your thoughts, especially on something like this. I mean, you have a group of men from Salt Lake City, Utah, who are Mormons, who are married to women, who are clearly married to women, who have children and families, but they're attracted to men. And even one man called it SSA. I had never heard of it. The only SSA I've ever heard of is Social Security Administration. So when I hear SSA, same-sex attraction, I'm like, ooh, I didn't even know there was a thing called that. Yeah. But we in 2024, it's a lot of weird stuff going on. And so, Tam, what do you think about this?
I do do not want to talk about this.
Okay, I'll say this.
Ah.
People are always going to say,
Uh-huh.
situations like this, I was born that way, right?
Okay.
You're going to hear a lot of that. I
Yeah.
was born that way. Why would God make me that way? I have these urges. I have these desires to sleep with men. I don't. I'm quoting. I'm quotating these men.
This is a lot. This is a lot. This is heavy.
The first time we talked about something heavy. Come on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you have these men who are attracted to men who have this whole thing. And at the end of the day, my first thought was that when people say that about, well, why did God make me this way? Well, God, we were born into sin, number one. We were born into sin. We don't get to necessarily define or choose our sin. We just born into it. That's sin. That sin is not necessarily I was born that way. No, you were born into sin. And because you were born into sin, you need to ask God for forgiveness, for restoration, for healing. You need to ask him for those things to remove the urges that you have, because we all have urges in some way, shape, or form. You know, I'm a straight man and I had urges for women, desires for other women, not being married, but just saying in the past when I was single. Yeah. And so that would be considered normal, but his normal is sin. But mine was sin too, right? Yeah. So I try to look at it that way, as opposed to looking at it from a way of course it's vile and it's nasty, but I'm not going to judge you per se. I'm just going to be like, I'm gonna pray for you. So that's my thoughts on it initially. What say you? Because we got to come back to you. You got a thought about it. So, okay, think if you were one of those women in Utah and you've been in a situation, I believe, where you've mentioned that a man has told you he has slept with other men or another man in college or a long time ago, and he told you that in conversation, right? Or was it something similar to that?
No, I don't know about that part, but yeah, for sure. I know someone who is attracted to men, but they don't want to be with a man, but they're attracted to a man. Yeah, it's, to me, honestly, I don't understand it. I don't know, but I don't know if it's meant for me to understand, right? I don't know if it's meant for me to understand. Even try as I might, it doesn't make any sense to me. Just because, like what you said, like, sin is sin, no matter what the sin is, right? So for me, it's just like sin is sin. So, but when it comes to attraction, I'm trying to be serious about this, because it's like a touchy subject, but it's making me very uncomfortable because I know someone very close who's basically said the same thing as these guys in marriage and everything. So I don't quite understand it, Tim. I don't quite understand it, being somebody who professes to adhere to the Bible. I get the openness of it and the honesty of it. But I think at some point you have to change, right? At some point you have to transform. At some point you have to be different. So, like you said, for people that have been like, well, I've been like this my whole life, or I've been having these feelings my whole life. Okay, cool, got it. We all have feelings. We all have feelings. But we all know feelings can fade, right? We all know that. But if you don't want the feeling to fade, of course it's going to linger. Of course it's going to, be there. But the thing is, some people may have these attractions and may not feel like anything is wrong with it. They just may find some normalcy in it. And I think it just depends on what you believe, right? If you believe in the Bible, then like some things are appropriate, some things are immoral, and some things will get you into heaven and some things won't. And so being mindful of like what the expectation as a believer is. I don't think I would be on a show that's about Mormonism, that believes in the Bible, having these types of conversations, because it does injustice to the kingdom and people that are trying to adhere to walking the right path and living righteously, which is what I say is the most harmful in church. It isn't the heathens, it's the people that say they subscribe to the Bible and then they show up as confusion. And we know God is not the author of that. And they do the most damage, because how are we set apart if we're having the same conversations and doing the same things as people who don't believe? So for me, it's just like I'm mortified with it, but also I want to understand it. I want to understand it to be able to have more of a progressive conversation around, all right, this is where you are, but how do you not have those feelings and how do you move past that? Or do you want to keep those, right? So it's just kind of challenging, Tim.
What would you encourage a person? I know personally, I've had friends that I've gay friends, simple as that.
Yeah.
And I mean, and grew up in the church.
Yeah.
Grew up in the church, sang on praise team with them. Sounds cliche, sounds stereotypical, but it's the truth. And I didn't even know until like I moved in with the guy, and I didn't even know. And I found out, and he was upstairs, I was downstairs, and when I this is a difficult conversation to have.
Right. It's challenging.
But this is why we're on the back pew, right? We have these conversations. So his room was upstairs, mine was down. And I remember just like he came in with someone one night and I didn't understand it. And I had a conversation with him and I just was like, bro, I didn't even know this was you. Like this. This is how you want to be? You deceived our friend when you was dating her, but all this time you've had all these urges and feelings. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
To this day, he still does live that lifestyle. Of course, I pray for him. I encourage him not to live that lifestyle as a friend and as a brother, but it's in his heart. And so you just pray. You pray for people. You have relationship, and you share the gospel with them. You share the word of God with them, the truth. And if you have that relationship, they should be at least receptive to it. It's about planting a seed. Okay.
Yeah.
So plant the seed, let God do the work, and let him do the rest. And that's how I kind of carried it and continue to carry it and still have nothing but love for that brother. Doesn't mean that, I haven't seen him in years, but it doesn't, and I can't hang out with him or kick it with him like that because, we're just living two different lifestyles. So it wouldn't even be right for me to do that because then that means I'm, kind of being conformed to the world by even being in those situations, right? So we got to be careful too. We got to be able to have those conversations because if not, we're just as responsible by not saying something. So it's important to say something when you have that relationship, I believe.
Yeah, it's so challenging, Tim, just because we live. I mean, back in the day, like it used to be fire and brimstone. It was just like heaven or hell. no gray. It's heaven or hell. And somewhere in between that and now it's just like, no, you should just embrace everybody. And, God is love and you're not supposed to judge anybody. It's just like, there's no middle. And I don't believe, honestly, there's supposed to be a middle. I believe the Bible is clear when he's like, you hot or cold, no lukewarm, hot or cold. But we as humans, we don't like it because we don't like the way it makes us feel. And we don't like people correcting us. And we don't like people telling us hell or heaven. We don't like it, even though that's the truth. If you believe in the Bible, there is no just like you're going to be hanging in purgatory. If you barely don't make it, all right, you're just going to go in purgatory. And that's where you're going to be. But that's not the conversation we have to have. We have to have truthful conversations. Sometimes truthful conversations hurt, right? But a little bit of hurt can cause a lot of healing. And with a little bit of hurt and honesty, we can actually move the needle forward in our lives and be perfected and be transformed and be changed. One thing I do love about this video though, Tim, is just like it's not closeted conversations. It's very much open. And I think once you're able to have more open conversations and transparency around like what you actually feel and what you're dealing with or what your attractions are, then we can get to the meat. We can pull back the layers. We can get to the foundation. We can unpack the fruit, right? And see, all right, why do you feel that way? You know? I don't think I could personally ever align myself to someone who has same-sex attraction because I think for me mentally, I'm always going to be mentally and emotionally comparing myself to be like, oh, well, I don't have the parts to satisfy you. And I think I find it very challenging for those women who are married to have to remain married knowing that their husbands are actually attracted to other men openly. That's a little scary to me. It's a little bit scary to me.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, whew, my wife ain't got to worry about that, y'all. I can tell you that much.
Praise God.
Praise God. Well, we're going to move on to one of your topics, Tam. Is checking your ex's social media normal? Is it normal, Tam? What's up?
Okay, so I saw online there was just like a post with text message involved. So let me see if I can find it. So apparently the boyfriend has been constantly checking his ex's page and the girlfriend found out. So she goes, you've been checking her page for a while now. So it's something. Like, until you tell me the truth, we can't move forward. How do you expect me to trust you if you can't even be honest with yourself, let alone me? I'm not going to be mad. So he responds, no, I mean, I don't have anything to be honest. So you're checking her page. And he said, I can't see anything anyway. So it's private. She's like, I'm not doing this. But the question is, or the question that I want to pose to you guys is, this is a real life scenario, by the way. Thank God I'm not in it. Is checking your ex's social media normal?
Okay, so I have a question. When you ask that, are you saying is it normal while you're in another relationship with someone?
Yeah, point blank period. Yeah. At any point, is checking your ex's social media normal?
I'm pretty sure it's normal for a lot of people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for various reasons. I'm sure. Even if you're in a relationship with someone, you may have some people who, depending on the temperature of the relationship, they might want that old thing back.
Oh.
Let's just keep it a buck. Like, you might be in a bad relationship and you might miss the one that you just left. That's real. You have people who could possibly check social media because they just want to see what's going on with that person, to compare their situation and their relationship to what's going on with them. Because at that point, some people look at their exes like, once they get out of the relationship, I'm going to do everything better. I'm going to get fine. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get another man or woman. I'm going to do all of these things to show that you lost and missed out on a good one. And I'm going to check and see, just to make, not me personally, because, when it came to me, I didn't care about that stuff. I think I might have checked my ex's social media maybe in the beginning while I was single, but no, it's not even an interest being married. It's not an interest even when I got into a relationship with Ali. None of that stuff mattered to me because I already got the prize. So if I got the prize, why I even want to go back and look at that stuff? What, to brag? No, it's not worth it. And so I think with some people, they have their ulterior motives on why they do stuff like that, to go backwards, to look backwards, to see the past or to see what could have been. But it's too late now. And I think some people just have a hard time getting over it.
Got it. Could you be with somebody that was checking their ex's social media occasionally? It's like, oh, I saw my ex. He was on the beach. I just liked the photo. It was a nice photo.
I mean, I'd probably feel some kind of way.
Mm.
But it would be challenging to some degree. So I think it's important to be respectful.
Yeah.
Important to be respectful on both sides, not to really do that in the first place. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
Got it.
Would you be with someone if they were constantly checking their ex's social media?
I think constantly is like overkill. I wouldn't want to be with anyone who's constantly doing anything that's like not involving me. But I think it's pretty normal to like want to see. I mean, if you have love for somebody, I think it's pretty normal to see kind of where life is taking them. I think like once, maybe once, right? But like constantly checking somebody's stuff, I don't see that. Like obviously, like I really have no desire to really check any of my ex's stuff at this point in life, though. I feel like once you're good, like you said, like once you're good and you're satisfied kind of where you are, you really don't have desire to go backwards. I feel like people that kind of look backwards are either trying to see what's up, like you said, not spin the block. To like you said, they're competing for some weird reason, which I think is like the dumbest thing. Or they're just nosy. No, you got people that are nosy, or somebody told you something. Oh, such and such is now dating, and you like who? And then you go on there and you look, and then you eating ice cream for like a month. Okay. So for me, I was just like, I don't really care what my exes got going on. I have access to my ex-husband stuff, but I was just like, I don't really have no desire to even see what he got going on at all. So for me, I'm like, if I don't care about what he got going on, I definitely don't care about nobody else got going on. So no.
Have any of you ever stalked your ex on social media? Be honest. Drop that in the chat too. We would love to hear.
Stop. He's trying to get y'all in trouble. Not stalk, maybe just, casually scoped out the scenery and just by happenstance typed in their name and on accident got there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Accidentally,
of course.
Makes sense. All right, we're going to dive into one of our fans actually sent this to me directly, and she wanted us to kind of talk about this from a dating perspective, Tam. So she talked about men who complain about their situation. And when we talk about like complaining about their life, their job, whining about it, not really doing much about it, but complaining about it, is that a red flag for you if you find someone who you're dating that you're interested in and all they want to do is kind of whine and complain about life circumstances that are in front of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely red flag. No,
why is it a red flag? I mean, can't you help him out of that funk a little bit? Just positivity. With some positivity. Come on.
You said dating. How long have I known this person? I think this is layered. Okay, so whoever person asked this question, it's very layered. If you just met this person and they're complaining about life and their situation, I would say this is absolutely a red flag. People in those cases, men or women, when they're doing that upfront, how are you even vulnerable enough to be talking about and complaining about your life unless you're trying to run game? You want something from them. You want them to come save you, rescue you from your situation, which a lot of people do. A lot of people tell you about what they're dealing with, and sometimes they lie. They're not even dealing with stuff, but they want money or time or even just like your ear. Like people will use you for the weirdest stuff. So no, I wouldn't recommend it. I absolutely see that as a red flag. Now, if this is somebody that you've known and it's a man and he just so happens to be vulnerable with you, I feel like that's completely fine. But if he's whining every single day and he hadn't gotten himself together, that to me is a red flag because listen, women, we whine. We're the whiners, okay? I'm just a girl. I say that all the time. So no, I feel like yeah, a man should have a safe space to complain about his situation, but that shouldn't be the foundation of y'all's conversation every single time y'all talk, or the majority of the time that you guys are actually talking. Like, I don't know, Tim, what you got?
I'm gonna give it to you straight up, man. As a man, I'm gonna give it to you straight up. If you have a man who is whining, because that was the main thing she said, was a whiny man who complains about their situation. A whiny man. You have that man, he's weak.
Oh, well, there's that.
It's not, now I understand the vulnerability part. I understand hitting a rough patch as a man. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can't hit a rough patch and you just need somebody to be vulnerable with, even cry with. That's no problem, right? But men it's biblical how we are the stronger vessel. We're the stronger vessel. Women are quote unquote the weaker vessel, which means they can be the ones to be emotional, to complain, to be a tad bit whiny, and for us, we balance women out by being strong and being stable and being steady. If you're not being any of those things and you're complaining about your situation, you're not showing this woman that you're stable, even emotionally. That's the number one thing you should be showing your hand at when you're dating someone, especially in the beginning. Is this person stable emotionally first, spiritually grounded? Can they handle different situations that come up in life? Because all of us have to face challenges, difficulties, tragedies, peaks, valleys. It's how you handle it. And as a man, you got to handle it. You got to handle it with strength. You got to handle it with grace. You got to handle it with stability. You got to handle it with so many things. And yes, it's a lot of pressure. But the last thing you want to do, especially when you're dating somebody, is complain and whine about your situation when you have the power to change it. God gives us the power. He gives us the power. When you tap into him, he gives you the power to make it through your situation. Whew, thank you, God. He gives you that. He gives you the power to make it through the situation. And you have to choose. You have to choose him every time. You have to choose his power. You have to choose his strength. You have to choose his word. You got to be able to tap into those things instead of complaining about it. Because what is complaining going to do? You're just wasting God's time by just complaining and not giving it to him. And I'm speaking from a man's point of view. From a man's point of view, if you have a woman, it's not no problem that you have a weak moment or have weak moments. We all are going to have those. It's how you deal with it. How do you deal with these situations that come up? Because you're going to get tested in life, brother. You're going to get tested when you get married. You're going to get tested. When you single, you're going to get tested. It's so many tests as men that we're going to have to face. On your job, you're going to get tested everywhere. And how are you going to handle it? Are you going to complain and whine about it without doing anything about it? Now, if you hurt and you wounded, do the best you can while you wounded, because hey, even some of the most talented, gifted people, even when they're dealing with difficulty and tragedy, still show up and do the best that they can. Sick, weak, like all of us have been in situations where we've had to give our best, not feeling our best.
Yeah.
So to me, it's no excuse to be whiny and complaining. It's no point. Find the solution through God.
That's good, Tim. That's good. I try not to speak on men. I try not to speak on men, but yeah, that was so refreshing to hear. I can only speak, I know, from a woman's standpoint. Like, you don't even want to do that to yourself. Like, you don't want to be carrying no man out his situation every time he got a situation. And you don't want to be with a man that doesn't have provision to get out of the situation. Baby, we about to lose the house. He can be like, well, baby, we about to lose the house. Baby, we about to lose the car. Well, baby, we about to lose the car. Maybe you should go get another job. Like, he depended on you to go fix it. And like, you don't want to be connected to somebody who can't fix it, whatever it is. And it starts with himself in his situation. And the way that you know, like, he's a good guy, you see him handle obstacles. It doesn't mean that he doesn't complain about them, or he doesn't have a vulnerable moment, but you see him digging himself out of the pit. He don't need help every single time that a pit happens. He's like reaching out for somebody else to pull him out. He doesn't know how to get himself out. Like, you don't want to be with you don't want to be with a person like that, point blank, period. But women, you definitely don't want to be with a man like that. You want to be with a man that can hold you down when something happens, and he gonna be right there with you, trying to figure it out with you.
Trying to figure it out. That's the most important thing. We don't have all the answers as men. And I think there's a lot of expectation on us to have the answers to everything. It's a lot of pressure, fellas. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. However, you don't have to know everything. But what you can do is when you have your lady with you, figure it out. Lead by figuring it out. And even say, hey, I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out together.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. It annoys me when I gotta figure it out. I was like, I gotta figure it out. What do you mean I have to figure it out? That's okay.
All by yourself while I sit back and just continue to whine and complain.
It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. It's the most out of order thing. Yeah.
Well, we can go back to the Garden of Eden where it was totally out of order too, right?
Yeah. Listen, are we going all the way back?
Just saying.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of role reversals ever since, right?
Listen, I said all the time, we want to give our curses away, and we can't. We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to. Those are our curses. God knew what we could bear. He knew. But this generation, no. It's 2024. I want to give you some of these labor pains. I don't want to give you some of this toiling. That's what 2024 is.
It's been a weird year, to say the least. It gets weirder and weirder, it seems. So we are living in the last days, guys. If you're not saved, get saved. If you have a relationship with God, please, this is the time to do it, because we are really living in the last days. So
will you come? Will you come? Oh, sorry.
Will you come? The doors of the church are open.
Will you come? Will you come?
Go. All right, before we get into the next topic, I want to just do a couple of small things. First of all, thank you so much for joining the Back Pew Conversations with your boy Tim and your girl Tam. We are just excited and elated that you're here tonight, listening and chiming in with us. Please remember to join the conversation below. We would love to hear your thoughts, comments on any topics that we discussed. Also, please remember to like, share, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, TikTok. We everywhere. We are everywhere. Last but not least, I would love to shout out a good friend of mine. Her name is Lisa Chambers, aka Love Wraps. I am wearing Lisa's Love Wraps tonight. This is my first time wearing one of her wraps, and I bought this 3 years ago. I had to learn how to put it on tonight. But
wait. 3 years ago, you just not wearing it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm just learning how to put this on. I'm sorry. But I love it. You guys should definitely cop one. Go to Love Wraps on Instagram, Facebook. She will ship them out to you. She does locks as well. But Lisa's absolutely amazing. I just want to shout her out and say thank you so much for this. I'm loving it. I should have been wearing it years ago, but I'm wearing it now. So love you, Lisa. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, 3 years later. Thank you, Lisa.
She has good deals on them too. So tell me, check her out. Check her out at Love Wraps though. All right. Harley-Davidson removes their diversity, equity, and inclusion program.
Yes. So, guys, this is my post. Harley-Davidson actually removes their DEI program. They actually posted a long rant. I have a little bit of it that I'm going to read. It says, for the past 120 years, Harley-Davidson brought joy motorcycling to riders around the world, no matter who they are, where they come from, and what they believe. We have a guiding principle United we ride. It defines how we run our business, treat our people, and the underscores of our commitment, welcoming all. Now, with that being said, they said we are saddened by the negativity on social media over the last few weeks. So they're removing their diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they said they're going to see every leader's role and ensure that they have employee base that reflects customers and in which they operate. It's critical to their business that they no longer have this program because they don't want to show favoritism, is what it sounds like, Tim. And they're also removing like their business employee resource groups, like their BRGs. So if you're like in an organization, like there's certain groups that you can be a part of to feel inclusive. They are no longer having that those as well. They don't want you guys siloed, having side conversations for Black people only or women only conversations. They want everybody to be one size fits all in their organization. So they're no longer paying attention to those DEIs, and they no longer have targets as far as their hires. So they're no longer specifically making sure that they hire everyone for representation. What do you think about this, Tim?
We all know DEI programs are aimed at promoting fairness and equity in all of these different companies and institutions, Tim.
Yep.
They focus on, for people that really don't know about DEI, they often specifically focus on racism, sexism, and homophobia. So those are three main topics and three main areas of DEI programs that we focus on, right? And to take that away, what America's trying to do moving forward, especially with this Project 2025 situation, in that DEI agenda, it is a very destructive ideology, Tim. It's very destructive. It breeds hatred. It breeds racial division. And honestly, it shouldn't really have any place in our federal government. But it's about to. It's about to. If things move, these companies keep moving forward in this particular way by removing these DEI programs. To not be able to, when it comes to DEI and when it comes to, hires, as you mentioned, there's a particular quota that DEI programs would ensure that people of color, different races and ethnicities would have opportunities based on a particular kind of number, based on, it typically would go based on your city or county, and based on that amount of people and percentage of people, that's how you make the hires for your companies. They're trying to remove all of that from these companies and take away opportunities for people of color and for people, for people who like minorities as well. They're trying to take all of that away. And so we have to do everything we can to promote DEI as much as we can, even though it's going away from a lot of companies. But we have to do everything we can to really push to not remove those programs. We have to. So I think it's really sad that companies are going this route. But this is the world that we live in, and it's very, very unfortunate. It's very scary. It removes opportunities for people like us. And so it really means that we're going to have to pivot. If in a lot of ways, when it comes to businesses and companies, now we will no longer have to depend on or can depend on companies to employ us. We're going to have to get it ourselves at this point. That's what I really pick up from that, is we got to get it ourselves. And God has been confirming it to me. Son, you go get it. Yeah. I've given you a gift. I've given you gifts, talents, and abilities. Go get it. Yeah. And that's what we need to do as a people. That's how we elevate our culture. And at this point, while we're trying to elevate it, DEI is trying to bring it down. So now we got to try to first maintain our culture in order to elevate it. So that could push us back. That could really take us back. We could really take a lot of steps back.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. Obviously, being in HR myself, like hearing that they're removing this program, it's very saddening. Specifically, if you guys aren't familiar with DEI, it started back in the 1960s, and the sole purpose of it was to make sure that everybody had a fair chance to be hired. Right? It's equal employment laws, affirmative action. All of those things tie into diversity, equity, and inclusion. So not that you would just be hired, that make sure that you're represented from a race standpoint, but the equity piece, right? To make sure that if you're hired, you're also going to get paid fair wages. You're not just going to be in there making $1 an hour. Somebody's making $5 an hour, right? If you're a woman, you're not going to be making $5 an hour, but a male counterpart is making $15 an hour, right? So we still have so many gaps right now as it relates to those disparities in equity. And to know that nobody's going to be looking or paying attention to this stuff anymore as it relates to Harley Davidson is very, very concerning. It's also very concerning that they don't believe that everybody needs a fair share or a fair shake into getting an opportunity, right? And the reason that this was created back in the day, Tim, because they were only hiring white men, right? They weren't hiring women. They weren't hiring, definitely wasn't hiring people of color, or if they were hiring people of color, they were paying them cents on the dollar, right? So I think a lot of people don't really understand what these programs actually support. And especially if you're a woman, I don't think you really understand that this program is for you too. So you wouldn't have to be a Susie homemaker. So you would have the ability to actually get a career and actually be paid fair wages for the career that they extend to you. So I think, as more companies, because this isn't the only company we've heard, Tim. So as more companies actually tie into this, you're going to see a lot of disgruntled workers. You're going to see a lot of unemployment from POCs. And this whole thing is going to backfire for people that are supporting the removal of these DEI programs to think they're safe. They're going to find out they're not.
I have an interesting fact for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where Harley Davidson's corporate office is?
Where?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Do you know where the Republican National Convention was this year?
Where?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh.
They faced a lot of pressure from conservatives to strip DEI from that company. And then the Magda people come out and celebrate and say, hey, another win. We just got another company that just signed an anti-DEI campaign. Another company. So like you said, it's about to be a bunch of companies that are going to follow that same approach. And it's going to allow people to have disgruntled workers, or they're going to quit, and they're not going to be able to find employment somewhere else to where they're making whatever that they were making on that job. And so it's very disheartening when I think of DEI, when I think of even some of my own experiences within DEI. It's just not good. It's not good.
Yeah. The company I work for, I love our DEI. I love the inclusive feel. I love feeling like I'm represented, and not just represented, but I'm represented well. Like there are leaders in like high ranks that are Black or African American, that are women. Like I see a little bit of everybody. And one thing I love about my company, if you guys don't know the company I work for, like one of our mottos is that they want to hire to make sure that their hiring practices look like the world around us. So everybody's there. Every flavor is there. And
flavor.
Yeah.
If things ever go south, I'm coming to work at your company. I'm learning SF right now.
I love my company. I love their DEI. I just love everything about them, how they treat people. It's just a great company. But anyways, I'm sorry to segue.
No, it's okay. Do you think that your company, even with Project 2025 possibly being on the horizon, do you think that they would change their DEI and strip their DEI? Or do you think it's too much of a melting pot within that company for them to even do that?
Nah, I'll say, first of all, my company base is in California. Let's consider that. San Francisco, mind you. So in terms of like inclusivity, and all the things that we support and represent, they hire people specifically for those roles, just to make sure that we are, targeting and hiring, and we have fair practices across the board. They don't want to, like, my company doesn't want to be a company that's known for not being inclusive. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So we're gonna get into another interesting topic. Maybe now we did this topic earlier tonight. We did a topic based on what was it? Married men attracted to men. Right?
Lord.
We did the that talk. Now we're going to step into a more comfortable setting for Miss Tam.
Thank you.
You can speak on this, the reality of abstinence, because guess what? Tam is coming up on not 1, not 2, but 3 years. 3 years. Y'all got to celebrate that. I mean, because that's rare in this day and age to have a person, a human being, a woman, anybody for that matter, being abstinent for 3 years. And I applaud you, sister. Sister, I applaud you for what you're doing. And I would love for you guys to just also hear Jackie Hill Perry on what she has to say about this.
It's something special to be able to have an intimate moment with somebody and you know they're staying. They're not leaving. They know you. They love you. They honor you. They're not giving it away to other people. They're not getting up and leaving and walking out the door because they got to change clothes. There's something securing and anchoring about sex within covenant that I think is cool. I think if you live a life of bodily morality, then I think you could sift out a lot of people. You could sift out the wrong people very quickly. That's one. Two, people would get married quicker. Because like when I see people who have been dating for years and years and years, I know they're having sex.
Oh yeah.
Because abstinence expedites everything. It's like we got
trying to make a decision.
We got about a year and a half, and then we about to get married.
It's better to marry than to burn with a desire.
Yeah.
1000%.
And it's safe.
I'll tell you what I enjoyed about what she said. The number one thing I enjoyed what they talked about was it's better to marry than to burn.
Yeah.
Allie and I, between dating, getting engaged, and getting married, was a total of 150 days. That is 5.5 months.
Oh, really?
Yes. 5.5 months. No, 5 months and 1 day. Now I think about it. 5 months and 1 day, and then we got married. We have been married longer than we dated.
Mm.
A small part of that, at least for both of us, was we didn't want to just shack up, live together, and all those things that we could have done. We wanted to be married and do life the right way and do it God's way.
Mm.
And I think it's hard nowadays to be abstinent, okay? But I do love the fact that when you are abstinent, you can sift out a lot of stuff. It's like your spirit is so in tune. Like you're in tune with the Holy Spirit a lot more. You're in tune with the things that are around you, the things that are happening around you, and you have more discernment. It's so many things. You're more impactful. It's like so many things that positive things come out of abstinence. And I think it's important to do if you are single.
Yeah.
This is your lane. I want you to talk about what Jackie Hill Perry talked about, since this is an experience that you have been living for almost 3 years.
So, I don't know, Tim, for me, when I decided to be abstinent, I just decided to do things God's way. It wasn't that I just decided not to have sex. I think for me, it was just like, I don't want to sin against God. And that was the reality of it for me. There goes my favorite train. When I first started my abstinence journey, I messed up a lot. Okay. And I don't know. I was going to say I messed up with my ex-husband too. Does it count?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So yeah, so I've messed up a lot, and I think for someone who just wants to do it right, who wants to do it God's way, I've just had this moment of like, God, I don't want to do anything that separates me from you. And if that means like waiting on my husband or waiting in general, then that's what I'm going to do. Now, that process is a hard process. Tim, you talked about getting married and going through dating 5 months. Like, that process can be a hard process. But one thing I will say, like, when you have the Holy Spirit, it's not as hard as a lot of people will make it. Like, the Holy Spirit will keep you if you want to be kept. And I think a lot of people think like it's hard because they don't want to be kept. They actually enjoy sex. And let's talk about it. Sex is very pleasurable. Sex is good, right? and that's the reality. It feels good. But it's not worth your soul. It's not worth it. And like when you have sex, like there's that, when you outside of marriage, you have that regret. If you have the conviction in your heart, it's not hardened in that place, right? You're gonna have regret. You're gonna be like, I messed up. Why did I do this? And especially if you're abstinent and then you have sex and you mess up after a long period of time, you're like, oh man, like,
Right.
why did I do this? So for me, like the best advice that I have for people that are trying to go through this like abstinence journey, like if you mess up, if you start over, guess what? It is completely fine. Like those things are completely fine. But ultimately, you want to get to a place where you're not messing up anymore. Like you want to get to a place where you put God first and you align your desires with his desires, and his will aligns to your will, and all of those things have to align. But I completely agree with like with what Jackie's saying. Like sex is such an intimate thing, right? It's not casual, and we treat it so casual when it's outside of marriage, or we date and be like, oh, I love you, so I'm just gonna have sex with you because it's like the same thing, and it's not. It's not. We lie to ourselves to get what we want, and that's the thing. We lie to ourselves often, and once you stop lying to yourself about what sex is and your body and who it belongs to, because it belongs to your husband or it belongs to your wife, and you just out here giving it away, like once you start to see it how God sees it, your perspective changes. And I think we have to start seeing how God sees it, and the reality of like sex outside of marriage, how God sees it, because those things don't belong to a random person. When you think about it, you're supposed to, you got this one thing that you're supposed to give to your husband or your wife that nobody else has had, and you're trying to tell me you already gave it away? They got to get leftovers.
I think a lot of us have made that mistake where we have prematurely given ourselves away to someone that wasn't our spouse.
Yep.
And I'll even take it a step farther and say there have been times, I'm pretty sure that you might have experienced this, because I know I have, the soul ties above all. It's the soul ties. So now I got to wonder, why am I, I done had sex with this woman. Now, why am I walking around all miserable? When I'm typically a happy person, happy-go-lucky and goofy and all that, but I'm bound up now. I'm bound. I mean, I don't even want to do what I'm accustomed to doing as far as going to the gym or activities or leisure things that I love to do, or hobbies, because I'm depressed, sad, I'm upset, I'm angry. That's because you got soul ties in you.
Yeah.
And those soul ties need to be broken. And the best way to do that is to be abstinent.
Yeah.
Now, you, sis, I'm glad you abstinent down in Houston, because Allie shared with me all of the cases over the past week about syphilis, chlamydia, AIDS, HIV, even unknown diseases, unknown STDs. But there were like 17,000 cases in 1 week over HIV.
Really?
It's crazy down in Houston. And so thank you for being abstinent.
Nobody's in Houston's had nobody. Praise God.
Meet your husband in Dallas.
He said Houston's tainted. Houston's tainted. But no, like it doesn't matter where you've been. God sees you where you are. Like for people that want to embark on this journey, don't matter if you had to start over, none of that stuff really matters. What matters is your yes today. Just saying yes to God today and start from there. And you don't even got I be counting my abstinence journey. You don't even got to count it. It's like you ain't gotta count it. Your journey could I like to count it because it's like one day at a time.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I beat my flesh, I've conquered my flesh today. But the reality isn't like 700 days abstinent or 1,000 days abstinent. The reality is I'm trying to get to heaven. Like that's the real goal. That's the real flex for me. And I think we need to just understand like there are just certain things that we gotta put down in order for our life to be fully committed to Christ. And the reality is sex is one of them before marriage. And once we settle with that, we can deal with it.
One of the most attractive things about my wife, I know you always be like, ugh, you guys are so nasty.
Yeah, you're so cute. What?
But Allie was abstinent at one point before we started dating.
Nice.
She was abstinent. She even bought a promise ring, a purity ring, excuse me. She bought a purity ring and she had posted it on Facebook. And when she had posted that, a lot of guys would have been like, oh, I'm gonna try to break her. Let me see if I can break her. Let me see, That was one of the most attractive things about her when I saw that. We were just friends. And I just saw that and I was like, wow. Like this woman says she is abstinent. That's a beautiful thing. It really was. It was a huge selling point because for me, it was like it showed respect for herself, respect for her body, she had morals. She got morals in a world where, you got women out here that, men got their issues too. But from a man's point of view, women who will take advantage of men, who will do all kinds of things, say all kinds of things. She was different, even in that space, being abstinent and everything. And I was just like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. And so I think it's cool because you get to sift out a lot of stuff. You see a lot of things more. And I think it's just good for us to do a soul cleanse when we get into situations where we've had soul ties and we've sinned against God and we've really eventually sinned against our own bodies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. Maybe one day we can talk about like how to deal with the soul tie. I feel like that deserves probably like a conversation, like a deeply rooted conversation. Maybe not tonight though.
Yeah, that's a pretty deep one, y'all. So y'all would have to come to the back pew with popcorn, maybe some dinner, so we can have that conversation.
I got a story to tell, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
You got a story to tell? Have I heard this story before?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my popcorn ready that night. All right, we're gonna move to the next topic, y'all. People be talking. Keeping your relationship problems in the house is the main thing. And so we'd love for you to hear a couple who talks about keeping their relationship in-house and just want to hear what your thoughts are. Take a listen.
Really don't take the house business outside of the house. Like I honestly don't call nobody and talk about him. If we have a disagreement, for me, it's like he's my other half.
Yeah.
So like I can't talk shit about me.
No, it's dope.
I don't want nobody to look at him no certain type of way because like I'm not gonna let you talk shit about him. And because we know each other so well, and I think we do have good communication skills most of the time, we are gonna talk it out. Like we are gonna figure it out without no outside influence.
That's why we work. That's why we've been rocking and we roll so long. Like we don't allow nobody in our space. If you make me mad, I'll be mad 10 days.
Talk to his damn self when he mad at me.
And I
when
talk
he
to
mad at
myself.
Me, he walk out the house and be talking all in his breath. I'd be like, bro, stop
Because I ain't got nobody
that.
to talk to. I will never in my life call nobody and discuss my wife. Like
he better not.
Because nobody know how dope you is. They don't know how much of an asshole I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Sheesh.
a real asshole. I could be an asshole. She know how to handle me and we know how to handle each other. And I love that, man.
Interesting. What about that, Tim? Is that how you treat your marriage?
For the most part, I'd have made some mistakes.
Oh.
I'd have made some mistakes. Not so much like just talking ish, crazy ish, but I made some mistakes.
Yeah.
Definitely, but it's so important and so true to keep everything in house because you don't want someone else talking trash about your spouse. If you trash your spouse, which It's just never a good thing. You don't want to even talk about problems with somebody else. And that's a lesson that something I've had to learn, seriously. And so, not perfect, had to grow in that situation and continuing to grow, and that's me being 100% authentic and honest, but I agree with them 100%. I agree. You do need to keep everything in house. You don't want people to judge you, look at your relationship the wrong way. Even when you get past things, they don't get past things. Family, friends, they'll remember that. And so, yeah, that's a lesson that, I'm learning.
I'm not married, so I tell everybody my business because it's mine. I ain't got nothing going on. Live a quiet life, Tim. But I see the value in making sure you don't taint the image of your significant other. I absolutely see the value of that. When I was married, I didn't really tell anybody what I was experiencing when I was married. And then when I got unmarried, like a couple years ago, when I decided to write my book and people started to see what like I was experiencing, they go, "Why you didn't tell nobody? Why you didn't tell nobody was dealing with all of this stuff?" And I just, in my mind, I don't know what way is right to tell people or not tell people. I think there's a piece of you that wants to be validated to see if you crazy in your relationship or if they right or you wrong. So sometimes I get it. I get wanting to have a conversation externally because sometimes you want somebody who doesn't have a dog in the fight to be an ear, to be like, "Nah, sis, you wrong," or "Nah, bro, you wrong," or "Man, that's crazy. Well, that's what you dealing with." Sometimes marriage can make you a little bit crazy. Sometimes you want to be like, "Nah, they bugging," or "Is it me?" So I see twofold, but I do understand that once you open that door, and let people into your intimate space and intimate conversations or conflict, how it could absolutely put a bad taste in somebody's mouth as it relates to your spouse. So I get both sides of it.
Yeah, I can say, I'm not a perfect husband, and I've made that mistake. And it's best to rather keep it in house or talk to your therapist. Somewhere. Yeah. That's the one dog in the fight that doesn't have a dog in the fight, for that matter. They don't have a say so, or they're just non-biased. So I believe that if you have someone like a therapist, that's a safe space to kind of talk through those things, to hear how can we better the situation? Where did I mess up? How can I be better? And so that's what I do. That's more of what I do and what I have learned to do, more in this day and age. And I'm still a work in progress within it too. And so, but that's the truth of the matter. And I think that as long as you have someone to talk to, you can't hold it all in. Yes, you're supposed to pray, take it to Jesus, but also talk to your therapist too. Have somebody a safe place where it's safe.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have no qualms with that. So basically, guys, don't be telling your mom and your dad about what your wife or your husband doing. Don't be telling your best friend, so your best friend can say, "Leave your spouse," and "Girl, you could do better," or "Nah, I got a shorty over here."
Yeah. Absolutely. That's good stuff.
Your wife said facts.
I knew she would. All right, y'all. This is your topic, Tam. I don't care. That's that house. What are we talking about, Tam?
What are we talking about? Oh, okay. So we are talking about a man who married a woman. Okay, let me give you backstory. Man marries a woman who was a widower. Her husband, her first husband, left her with 3 houses. Okay. She's like, "Okay, I'm going to give the houses to the kids because that's what was originally given to her for her to have with their kids." He remarries. The new husband says he needs to be on the deed of these houses that she got from her first husband. What do you think, Tim? Is he correct? What say you? Like you be saying to me, what say you, Tim?
When you get married, what's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. Simple as that. Being on a deed, I mean, it's tough. It goes two ways. Yes, technically, he should be on the deed.
Okay.
Be out of marriage, and I can speak personally to that. And I think that, I mean, technically he should. And in a lot of cases, a lot of states will automatically, legally, when you get married, in a lot of states, including Texas, that's the case. The spouse automatically goes on the deed. So regardless of if that person was there, regardless of anything, that they're entitled to that. Having said that, though, I can also understand the fact that the kids, that's how the previous husband had it set up. It was for the kids. So I would think that the new husband should have some compassion. Why do you want to go on the deed so much when the house wasn't left for you? It was left for the kids. So it's not so much, the marriage part. Yeah, while he could be entitled to be on the deed, should he really go on the deed when that was left for the kids? I don't think so.
Okay, so is that the final answer? That was a long-winded final answer.
No, I was trying to give some backstory because from a marital standpoint, yes, technically he's entitled to be on.
Would you? Okay, just say, not just saying. All right.
Okay, if it was me, if I was in that same situation.
This is a dead man's house. How's this? Dead man's house is.
Leave it to the kids. Why would you? That's another thing. Why would you even want to go on another man's house? Why would you want to? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. I would say we got to get another house because he done lived in this house. He done, slept in this house, the whole nine. I get it. I get that point too. I do.
Final answer.
Final answer.
All right.
Y'all know I'm a diplomatic person. I try to see both sides.
So the final answer is, why does
he wouldn't do it? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even. If I were him, I wouldn't even came into a marriage saying I need to be on the house. I don't care. That's our house. I wouldn't have been saying that. No. Especially when he left it for the kids. If she would have told me that he left the homes for the kids, I wouldn't have pushed it to have been on that.
What if he left it for her? Would it make a difference?
No, it still wouldn't. That's hers, and that was what they shared.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be weird. Yeah. I don't personally, I don't understand it. I agree with you in your diplomatic answer about like, why would he want this whole other man's house and to be adamant about his name being on it? And I know the other side of that, the devil's advocate side, is going to be like you said, but they're married. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. Does that mean she's not fully committed in this relationship? Let's just say he gave the houses to her. Why wouldn't she want to put this man on the house if they're going to be together forever? Right. So I think holistically in the back of my mind, if they're together forever, I don't think it matters, but it's just the little small voice in the back of my head is like, what if they not? Now this man got rights to this house that could have just belonged to maybe her kids or her. He got somebody else blood, sweat, and tears on it. And now he has access to this stuff that he really shouldn't be afforded. So I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. Luckily, I'm not in that situation.
It is a very tough situation for that lady to be in. I'm pretty sure she's trying to do right by her, her first husband, rest his soul, God rest his soul. I'm pretty sure she's trying to do right by him. She's trying to do right by her kids, and she's trying to do right by her current husband.
Yeah.
She's in a tough predicament. I wouldn't want to be in it. So it's really,
because the kids are going to say something when they get old enough too. My dad left this house and you gave it to this.
Gave it to this ninja. You gave it to this ninja. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I would put in a trust and just let the kids have it and deal with the repercussions. He probably gonna try to get a divorce, but it is what it is. I saw a message on Facebook. It sounded very intense, but that was the situation.
Well, if that's the case, then did he really love her in the first place?
Facts.
Because if we're talking about material things and that's holding us up, then it meant that you really didn't love me. You love for what I could do for you more than anything. You saw I had these 3 homes, and now you added about being on the house. Well, where's your house at? Did it talk about that in any of the conversations or any?
Would it matter though? Let's just say they had a home together. Would it matter if he's paying the bills? Then should he now have claims to the other houses?
If it was left for the kids, doesn't matter if he's being responsible. It doesn't matter. At least for me.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Well, there's that.
Yeah. Single women prefer dating married men.
Lord.
What is this world coming to?
I don't know.
Well, take a listen. Since we can talk about this so freely now, hear what this lady has to say about dating married men.
This point in my life, it's convenient for me to date a married man. Very convenient. I don't think I'm destroying anybody's home because their husband is my supposed boyfriend. That's not my business. You meet married men that 6 months, 3 months, they don't have at home, but they want to every day. They come to their girlfriend's house. They want, as they enter, they want just they do. But at home, there is nothing. So how you go? So that's my fault that you're not having fun at home, and that you can have that fun with me 1,000,000 times in a day if you so wish. You will always come to me.
Once the man is married,
yes,
he should be out of bounds.
For who?
How is
Life is preference, right? I like to date married men. You cannot date married men. Let me do what works for me. Primary thing that keeps that man coming back is not anything else.
I am so confused.
What say you, Tam?
What the heck? What
did you think about that? I'm curious.
I think it's an atrocity. I think it's horrible. I think we should bring back shame. I just think it's weird. Obviously, people are going to do what they do. And this is twofold, right? Single women preferring dating married men, married men preferring not sleeping with their wives, but sleeping with somebody outside the home. It's twofold. 2 things are happening right now, and none of it sounds great. None of it sounds good. But for her to specifically prefer to be with a married guy says a lot about her moral compass. It says a lot about her just in general, in terms of her lack of, I would say, emotional intimacy that's missing. And it sounds like she's trying to fill some kind of a void. But I'm not a therapist, so I can't call it.
I'm going to get to a comment. Allie says she is playing, I think she meant playing with her life. And so is he. Yeah.
9mm. I ain't saying I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
But I got it.
That's real. That's real. Now, did you recognize that she sounded like she was maybe from African descent, maybe?
Yeah,
and you know that polygamy, polyandry is very popular and very common in African culture.
Some of them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what would you say if that because that's an acceptable practice. What would you say? Is it still wrong because it's practiced somewhat in different culture?
It's wrong.
So
wrong is wrong. Okay, so even in the cultures where it is normally accepted, the wife has to agree with whoever they're inviting into their whatever that space is. I don't know too much about it, but I do know that piece that the wife has to agree. But what this sounds like, it doesn't sound like the wife knows. It sounds like a husband is sneaking and she is doing what she does with the married man. So this don't sound like that. And if the question was with Tam, absolutely not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting because I first of all I thought, dang, people are just bold to get in front of a mic and say these things. Like, you remember stuff like that, like dating married women, sleeping with married men. That used to be like, a quiet thing. People would be so shocked to find out that an affair was going on. But it's so normal now. It's so taboo. That's the world we live in now, and it's so easy to just do it. And it makes truth be told, to the fellas out there, I know at least one person that probably said, see, this is why it makes it so hard to not cheat. There's never an excuse to do it, but you're going to hear brothers say, oh, see, right there, that's why you can't even stay faithful out here because of women like that. No, control your urges, or take your urges out on your wife and on your spouse. Water your garden. Where you at? Figure that out. So, because it's easy to go to the woman who has no say so in your life, who you could just do whatever with 1,000,000 times and then go back home. But guess what? You're going to feel every single time. You're going to feel emptiness. Even after doing it, you feel empty. You're going to keep going through the same cycle, and it's a deep hole to get out of. So as men, why would you want to put yourself in that position?
And somebody said they ain't going to feel no emptiness. They said they're going to feel pleasure.
You feel pleasure. Your flesh, you feeding your flesh, but your spirit is not where it should be. Your soul is not where it should be. So so from the standpoint of the flesh, oh yeah, it'll feel great in the moment, but then you'll feel terrible if you have some kind of heart, if you have some kind of some type of character, any type of character, you're gonna feel.
Yeah. I don't understand it.
It's interesting though. It is interesting. Stay friends or let them go. Damn, what is this about?
This is mine. So this was a topic, and I'm going to read it for you guys. Just let me know. So it starts with thoughts. It says, basically, the husband threw away his wife, got divorced to his wife who was going through chemo. And the friend says, I don't think I can no longer be friends with this person because he's now going through a divorce and he already has a brand new girlfriend. So the question is, Tim, can you stay friends with somebody who doesn't have a good moral compass?
No.
Or does that not apply to you? Like, he's like, oh, it don't affect me, so we still cool, but I don't like what they did.
Nah, you are the company that you keep. And I'm just in a season in my life where I only surround myself around men, at least from a relationship standpoint, to where we're on the same page, like as far as character. If you marry, you got to be faithful to your wife. If you're single, you got to at least you can't be out here wilding out, because I'm not in that space, anymore in life. So it's a lot of things, even with a couple of the single friends I have, I'm not trying to have certain conversations with you. So if you don't have a good moral compass, you can't hang with me, because, bad company corrupts good morals.
Word.
So at some point, my flesh is going to take over. At some point, if I continue to hang around somebody who doesn't have a moral compass, eventually I'm going to indulge into the same things that you're indulging into. Eventually, I'm going to get into something I probably shouldn't get into, or shit. It's not going to honor my marriage, my vows. It's not going to honor my relationship with God. It's not going to honor those things. So if I have to question your character, I'm not going to hang with you. Simple as that. And I don't care how long I've known you. I could have known you 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. If your moral compass is off, I can't rock with you.
Yeah. That's good. I will say when I was younger, I used to didn't think like that. Like if like I had a girlfriend, it'd be like, girl, I slept with this married dude. And I'm like, you know you wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. But I would still be cool with them, you know, because I'm like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. That's like somebody's husband. But I would still be like, cool after I fussed a little bit. But now that I'm like matured a bit spiritually and matured a bit just in general, I wouldn't even want to surround myself with somebody sleeping with somebody's husband. I wouldn't even, I wouldn't even, I feel like why, how are we even friends? We're so polar opposite. Like, how are we that even close? You know what I'm saying? So for me, now that I'm older, yeah, morally, I choose my friendships a little bit differently now. I'm more spiritually aligned with the people that are in my inner circle. And it doesn't mean that I can't be like, hi, hey, how you doing? Cool with you, but I can't be close with you. You don't get to get my ear because sooner or later, like you said, something they say might sound look good. It might sound good one of these days. I say last, ew, brother, ew. It might be that one week and then like, ooh, okay, like another week. So for me, yeah, I think we have to be a little bit more mindful because long gone are the days where it's just like, oh, you disrespected that relationship, but you didn't do it to me, so I can still be cool with you, even though I know you're like a low down, dirty person. Like morally, I can't even see myself being cool with you because I know what you did. I know you did that. It's not like a he says, she say type of thing. Like I know you low down, and it sooner or later you might do that to me. And I had to learn the honestly, I learned the hard way. I had a whole situation with somebody who did somebody else wrong, and I was like still cool with them. And then when they did me wrong, I was like, why am I surprised? So yeah, let them go. Let them go.
So Ali even said it's also dangerous. Imagine a wife pulling up on the both of you.
Listen, when you hear stories, you hear those stories where somebody pulls up and then the innocent bystander, something happens to them because they were associated with the guilty person. No, I'm not interested.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It is not worth it. So yeah, that's good, Tam. I agree 100%. All right, guys, we have gotten to the end of the night. We have some final thoughts, and I'm gonna let my girl Tam go first. So Tam, what are your final thoughts tonight?
Do I have to say them all?
No. Pick out 4
topics. Okay, black people gonna black people. We talked about the buffet situation when the dude eating all the lobster. Was he right? Was he wrong? I feel like it's buffet. I feel like maybe he was wrong for recording it. And ruining it for the rest of us. That's why I feel like that's why I feel like he was wrong. Simone Biles' mom out here wilding out, trying to put dirt on her daughter's name after she's the one that did her daughter the dirtiest by the abandonment and then treating their relationship like she the problem. Whole weird situation. I don't like it. I hope we talked about this. I hope Simone ignores the mom and doesn't even give it any air to escalate, any kind of additional trauma that situation may cause to her. Married men attracted to married men. Oh my gosh, this is Tim's topic. I'm gonna say it again. We talked about these dudes who are married who are still having what we know as same-sex attraction. I still don't have any words for it, But the conclusion of that conversation was, if you are thinking things such as a man thinking, so is he, the Bible says. So if we are thinking things that are not godly, that are not pure, that are not true, we need to ask God to deal with those things, those matters of the heart and mind, so that our minds can be focused on Him, on things that are pure, things that are righteous, things that are holy. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Checking your ex social media, is it normal? We discussed it can be normal. It can, but why? Why would you continually stalk it, right? Like maybe one, maybe once after you glowed up a little bit, maybe once, but like all the time, no, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be competing with their social media page and trying to make sure you look better than the guy or the girl. You don't need to be doing any of that stuff. Like, and then men who complain about their situation. Thank you for the topic to one of our followers. Men complain about their situations to women. We said that was a red flag. We said run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. All right. Harley Davidson removes the DEI program. We already talked about how this is going to cause a lot of issues. A lot of people are going to be complaining about lack of unemployment, a lack of inclusion, and they're going to be complaining about how much money they're getting paid, because that's what removing these policies and these things or these programs are actually going to do. It's actually going to have you in a role getting paid half of what your counterpart is. And when that happens, and if you're supporting the removal of these programs, remember this moment. You supported the removal of these DEI programs. So when people are making more money than you, I don't want to hear it. Okay. That's all I got for now, Tim. We talked about too much. So what you got?
That was good, Tim. Black people always gonna be black. Yeah, at least this one brother in particular, where he just went crazy and had a lot of lobster on his plate. I think it was totally unnecessary. I think it was classless. I think he could have went back to the buffet. There would have been plenty left for him. Just there's a level of decorum that he could have done better. That's all I'm gonna say. Simone Biles' mother, was she out of pocket? Yes, she was. You don't use your daughter's name, her likeness, and her image to talk bad about her, to throw dirt on her name after she has made our country very proud. And you just want to tie a lot of her, like, isn't it funny where we're at the peak of our success, we have great things going on, and then all of a sudden shame wants to come in and take over and overshadow all of the good. Have you noticed that? It just, for some odd reason, it just always happens that way, where she's at the top of her game, she's at the pinnacle of her career, and now she has to answer questions about her mom. It's really sucks. But married men being attracted to men, that's nasty. Like, I've been to Salt Lake City, and it is Mormon country, and now I know how interesting it is. I'm always taking my wife to Salt Lake City. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Is checking your ex's social media normal? Yes. I think it can be normal for some people. It's not normal for everybody. I think that's one thing. I think some people like to do it. A lot of people like to go back and see what that old thing is doing, or they want to be able to look and say, hey, I'm doing better than you. I think a lot of times that's where it can be, but it can be normal. But I would say steer clear from it. It's not worth it. Men who complain about their situations. Thank you, Mary Crosby, for this question and for this topic. It is a red flag. It's a huge red flag. Please run. Please run. If you see a man complaining and being whiny, as you mentioned, being whiny about that situation, please run the other way. Let that man grow up a little bit. Harley Davidson removes their DEI program. It can get ugly if we do not do the right thing and try to save these programs, or we just try to create our own lane. But it can be very damaging to our entire economy. It can be. That's all I got, Tam. We are at the end. You got anything else to talk about? What you got?
Dallas? Are we talking about Dallas?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll, guys, we will be doing a live podcast recording the weekend of September the 28th here in Dallas. We will have more details for you as they become available pretty soon within the coming days and weeks, but it's fastly approaching. We will be at Forest Hill Community Bible Church in Fort Worth. We will be doing a live podcast discussion there on Sunday, September 29th. But on Saturday, September 28th, we will also have a live podcast discussion. There will be more details that will be coming out on locations, time, and everything. We'll have everything on Eventbrite for you to register. So look out for everything coming out for that. You have anything you want to add to that, Tam?
No, you did well. If you guys are newly watching, go ahead and click that like button, click subscribe or follow, depending on where you're watching us from. We definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in to another live episode of the Back Pew Podcast. I'm Tam.
I'm Tim. Thank you guys for coming tonight and for joining us. We will see you guys next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Have a blessed night. Peace. Yo, what's going on? The Back Pew.
We got so much to talk about this week.
We
can unpack like these conversations. You can see a pedicure.
You would do.
Depends on his feet.
That could be my feet. What's up, Tam? We in person? We not Back Pew Conversations. What's going on? This is
the Tim and Tam Talks. He be doing this stuff on purpose. New here. Go ahead and click that follow, subscribe button. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We everywhere.
Yo, we everywhere. Like literally, we everywhere.